How's everyone doing in 2022? Happy New Year! I want to talk about the popular camera topics from 2021 that made us pay attention to the photography world. With new cameras being released and old cameras being discontinued in 2021, this video will help you get a quick fix of what happened in 2021. It's time for another photo news brief. If you were asleep in 2021 or blinked, then you missed the flagship camera shuffle. Also, this was the year when DSLRs were discontinued for the greener pastures of mirrorless cameras. By the way, my name is Vaughn. This photo news brief is special because I get to talk about Canon and Sony and Nikon. If you're a Leica, Sigma, or a Panasonic user in the L-mount alliance, maybe I'll start doing more news about your topics in 2022. Now let's get to the popular camera topics for 2021. Since this would be an hour-long video, I'll go over the highlights of each camera featured in this video. Remember, this is a photo news brief. The mirrorless camera flagship war started in January of 2021 with the Sony A1. Then came the Canon EOS R3, and it continued through December with the release of the Nikon Z9. I'll start this video in order with the Sony A1. Sony A1 is Sony's flagship mirrorless camera. It was announced January 26, 2021. It helped start the Flagship Camera Wars. Let's go over some highlights. It touts a 50 megapixel sensor. It has a burst rate of 30 frames per second, and it records 8K video. The highlight of this camera is it has a mechanical and electronic shutter. This is a professional grade camera for sports, wildlife, and sports journalists. The specs are below. Also, you can go to this link to get a comprehensive review of this camera. And now the flaws. The camera's had issues with the IBS hesitating after being moved from being hanged by a strap. If the camera is shaken, it will render photos useless. There are also erratic issues with battery drain and EVF blackout in sunny environments. If you're familiar with any camera body made today, help is always on the way with an update. Sum up this situation. Have you ever watched Star Wars: A New Hope and wondered what was wrong with the original? Nerds get it. An update gets you to buy into hastily released products. I guess being a nerd means that I will just make YouTube videos and post on Reddit with the hope a camera manufacturer will see my message and hear my cries. Let me read the message I recently sent to an unnamed camera maker. Sony, Canon, or Nikon. I have this camera, ma'am or sir, that just sucks. Please release a full update 1.0 or partial release 1.1 to ease my pain. I have returned the camera to you and you returned it back to me and it still sucks lollipops. Your friend in need. Now that I've given you an overview of the Sony A1, let's move on to the Canon EOS R3. The camera was the first camera to be featured with a 24.1 megapixel full frame backlit illuminated stacked CMOS sensor. The R3 uses Canon's dual pixel AF system that detects people, animal, and motorsports. It offers 6K RAW at up to 6 frames per second. I aimed the fact that it had 120 frames per second of blackout-free shooting. These features, who could ask for anything more? The specs are below. You can also go to this link for a more comprehensive review. Everything that is shiny and new, something always goes wrong. I'm warned that the EOS R3 orders could take up to 6 months to fulfill. In a statement, they said, currently, we have received orders for each of the following products in excess of expectations. Due to the impact of global part supply delivery, we apologize for the inconvenience caused to our customers and business. Bummer! Don't you Nikon lovers dare laugh. The Nikon ZFC is also on back order. Nikon said that it would work quickly to deliver as soon as possible. There was no concrete timeline. Fast forward to your favorite YouTube photographers taking the opportunity to figure out whether the camera overheated like the EOS R3. It seems that Canon fixed the issue in the EOS R3. Great, no external fan required. Finally, he who releases their camera last gets the last laugh. The Nikon Z9 was released December the 21st. I personally did several videos on this mirrorless camera offering from Nikon. Let's go over the highlights of this mirrorless camera. The Nikon Z9 has a 45.7 stack sensor, has powerful autofocus tracking, shoots 8K video, no blackout of the EVF. It differs from the Canon and the Sony in that it has an electronic shutter. Another thing this camera has improved upon is AF tracking. It is now on par with its rivals Canon and Sony. It tracks people, animals, and vehicles. Another feature that separates it from the competition is in the crop mode, it can hit 120 frames per second. This is the camera meant for sports, wildlife, and news. The specs are below. I personally did several videos on this mirrorless camera offering from Nikon. Please look for the link above. Now for the ugly. This camera is bulky yet sturdy. If you ever held a Nikon D-line camera, then you will know that it's like carrying a tank on your shoulder. The camera is lighter than its predecessors in the D-line. Video creators, you're gonna have to wait for codecs like 10-bit ProRes 422 HQ, and you're gonna have to wait for 8K 60 frames per second mode. That won't be available until a firmware update sometimes in 2022. If you can afford this camera, then you probably own an Atmos Ninja 5 or 5 Plus. I own an Atmos Ninja 5 just to get the codecs not available to Nikon cameras. Part of the news brief is for all those DSLR camera users that are still holding on to their VCR, CD, hoping one day they will become retro again. My VCR still works, unlike some of the electronics I have bought in the previous years. So I'm a boomer. Stay off my grass. Do a quick wrap up of all the announcements from Canon, Sony, and Nikon. Canon execs confirmed that the EOS 1DX Mark III is Canon's last DSLR. This was bound to happen because most manufacturers are moving to one mount for all cameras. This camera will be replaced by the EOS R1, which is the new flagship camera. While there have been rumors over the years, it has been discovered that Sony will discontinue the A mount. It is dead. At some point leading up to May 2021, Sony removed the product pages for its A68, A77 II, and A99 II from its website. It removed all mentions of the A mount cameras to be released. Most of their DSLR line in favor of mirrorless cameras. You will start seeing more DSLR cameras showing out of stock on the major camera retail sites. If you were in the market for a flagship camera in 2021, this was the year of the Ox. That might explain the releases. Oxes are reliable and methodical. But if you're in the market for a camera, you can hook up any of these Oxes to a cart and get your demanding photography or video work done with little compromise. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Please watch my other photo news briefs or Nikon news if you enjoyed this video.